Hackers is a 1995 American crime film directed by Ian Softley, starring Johnny Lee Miller, Angelina Jolie, Matthew Lillard, and Fisher Stevens.
Dave?
Yeah, Mom?
What are you doing?
I'm taking over a TV network.
Finish up, honey, and get to sleep.
Hackers.
Okay. Before we get into this review, gentlemen, we have to establish our handles. So I've come up with a way to do that in real time. So let's do it. Let's go. Are you ready? Let's do the name of your first pet and the make of your first car that you've ever owned.
Oh, God.
I like it. It's not very hackery, but I like it. Charlie Ranchero.
Charlie Ranchero.
This is the worst.
Charlie Ranchero. I got to write that down so I remember. Coleman.
Charlie Ranchero?
Charlie
Yeah?
Ranchero.
I don't know if Charlie Ranchero can measure up to my spunky contour.
I didn't say porn name. Spunky Ranchero? No, Spunky
Contour.
Spunky.
Yep.
I also had a spunky contour.
My.
And you could call me
Ew.
Hans Cutlass.
Hans Cutlass.
All right. So welcome back to the Cult of Films. I'm Hans Cutlass, and tonight I'm joined by Charlie Ranchero and Spunky Contour. We are talking about 1995's Hackers. Oh, Coleman. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll have to drink every time we fuck that up. Take a drink.
Okay.
Yes, this is all Coleman's fault.
Yeah. Charlie Ranchero, why are we talking about the time capsule you dug up from your backyard?
Well, Hans, because it's a fantastic movie. I really wanted to revisit. It really holds up. The technology is all the exact same.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
It is 100% how hacking works in real life, then and now. It's same thing. And yeah, I mean, rollerblading, fucking sweet leather jackets.
All the time. I see it
Everything.
all the time. Yep.
Everything about this movie is fantastic.
Yeah.
And so I really wanted to revisit it for this show.
I can't believe how prophetic this movie was back in 1995, like knowing that, you know, we were all going to dress like Matthew Lillard that looked like he just shopped at like Savers in the little girl section, you know, wearing really small sunglasses and always having like little tiny braids in our hair. And there's just so much that this film got right. I'm sorry, you Spunky Contour. Was this a film that was near and dear to your heart back in 1995?
No. I'm
Come on,
sorry.
Spunk.
I'm sorry. All I could, as soon as I saw Matthew Lillard, the only thing looping in my head was like Scoob. Totally. Yes, I'm sorry. This was basically he had practiced for Shaggy in this movie.
You had never seen this movie before, right, Johnny?
I saw a piece or two of this movie.
Wow.
Prior to viewing
When
it.
I see Matthew Lillard, I see this.
Find it?
Oh, phone's all right. Problem must be somewhere else.
That's
Sassy
not
punk.
my
Sassy
problem.
punk,
I'm
right?
sorry for you. Some things can't be helped.
This movie was like getting mono in high school. It was hard to not, you know, like how you almost had to go out of your way to not see this movie back in 1995.
I was freshman year, so I wasn't quite getting out, and I was definitely socially awkward. So I heard about this movie, but I never actually saw it because I was not one of those people that got out to see things.
Okay. So I was in middle school when this came out, and I remember like my cousin and I were so stoked to watch this movie. And, you know, we're like 7th, 8th grade, something like that. And so watched it and just absolutely loved it. I mean, we didn't know anything about, I didn't even own a computer at this point. Obviously didn't know anything about hacking or any of it. but just all the clothes and the like New York party scene, and like these hackers were all somehow the cool kids, which the movie also got right. Computer hackers are always like the absolute coolest people in school.
That, for a very small window in this alternate universe, absolutely. Spunky Contour. Can you tell people under the age of 30 what a dial-up modem is, and then also tell them what this movie is about?
See, this is like a horrible, I don't know, bait and switch.
That's it. You got it.
It's a bait and switch. It's like if you were born after 1995, this is relevant actually. Like if you're watching this show in 1995, you weren't even a blip, and you watch this movie, you're gonna be like, the fuck? This is what happened in 95.
Rollerblades.
You'll hear there were rollerblades, and they were. I'm surprised. I'm actually thinking about it now, shocked. We did not hear the screeching and the squelching and the screaming of a dial-up modem in the library computer. Honest to God, like how many people? Seriously, Coleman, at what point in your life did the disillusionment of that dream hacker girl fade away as you showed up to the computer club meetings? Just wondering. Like, there's got to be a point where you're...
I didn't go to computer club, so...
Oh, you just fantasized. Okay, so
yeah.
You were the poser. You weren't actually the nerd. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I would say this is the best Angelina Jolie. All the Angelina Jolies.
It's a very early Angelina Jolie.
Because she had your haircut?
Probably one of the more memorable.
Like 13. I never really got into computers, so it's really easy for this movie to like hold a special place in my heart, because there was no bullshit around it, right? Where every time they look at a screen, like animation shows up and equations start floating off of the screen, and
the Microsoft screensaver programmers had a field day with this movie. Like the launch party for the movie, they were sipping on Dom Perignon, and they were like, "Yeah, hackers, baby, we're the next gen." That lasted maybe 5 minutes, at least until midnight. At least
I had no idea that you just sit at your keyboard and type, and the screen doesn't have just random script going up and down, and your typing's not going anywhere. It's just random animation script going up and down your screen.
Right, yeah. That everyone could completely read all the time. No matter what is on the screen, random numbers. At one point, what's his name? Joey hacks into the what is it? The gardener? The Gibson. He gets into the Gibson, into the trash file, and it's like E equals MC squared. It's like, you gotta put in Einstein's thing because it makes it seem smarter.
Yeah. I'm surprised that we've reviewed this movie for as long as we have.
This film is such a fucking mess on so many different levels, and that's the best thing I could say about it, because it does some really fun things and like really good things, and I want to get that out of the way because I want to talk about the dumpster fire. So the early part of the film, there's these like insert shots of different scenes that convey like what Dade is feeling, which are really cool and really interesting. So like the first time he sees Acid Burn, aka Angelina Jolie, he like it like cuts to these like old timey like kind of like sexual innuendo. It's like, oh, this is telling us that he's thinking about sex.
Do you speak English?
And it does this like 2-ish times, and then it never fucking does it again. I'm like, man, you had something that was like kind of cool, but you had to abandon it for, you know, the kids spending more time in the Foot Clan warehouse where, you know, there's no adults and everyone can just do whatever they want.
Yeah, because the lawyers were like, hey, by the way, they're kind of already doing this over at Dream On, so yeah, might want to dial it back.
Good. Look at Johnny. the film noom pulls Dream On like
I'm
out of
old.
her, like he had it ready. Even the title scene where it's like a nice, I mean, it's stock footage. Don't get too hard about this, but it has this nice like pan over the skyline of New York City, and then it dissolves into a computer circuit board that also looks like New York City hackers, and it's just like, fuck yeah, like that's cool. And then we get right into like the fucking FBI infiltrating Zero Cool's house, and it's like the worst choppiest slow-mo that you've ever seen. It was probably filmed on a pursed Polaroid picture shoot. The FBI guy, like the one that's in charge of catching the hacker people, like he has a Super Mario portal, like, because he is in every place, but it's always it's 1 second too late because, you know, they leave the train station and he's there. He's like, oh, I could tell because there's this fucking phone booth that was sitting on a Lazy Susan because we had to get that spinny effect. Because how else are we going to make a child, like a teenager, well, a 30-year-old playing a teenager sitting in, you know, hacking a phone, like clicking computers? How do we make that look riveting?
Yeah.
Well, we put him on a Lazy Susan. We spin that motherfucker.
I know.
Right.
It's a sick shot.
Oh, also,
I will say,
mad props to product placement. Coca-Cola, good on you, all over this movie.
Joel
And
Cohen.
like in the final scene, the super hack scene, you've got the dial up and they're loading up all this. You see the Nikon, you see this and that, and the very last one is Apple Mac, baby. I'm like,
that should have been the sequel. Fuck. Zero Cool should have been back in his apartment, and he should have got a knock at the door. Another UPS guy that he looked so pissed off to see the first time, and that UPS guy was a fucking dick. Because that was coming from fucking the plague, so you don't need a signature when you're delivering the plague package. He gets it. This is the end of the movie, right? He gets it. He opens it up. Fucking Apple MacBook or whatever, and then it's like the plague from prison. He's like, you thought you got rid of me? Well, I got a skateboard in prison, bitch. And it's like, boom, got the black.
So
Damn.
I will say, I have so much appreciation for this movie because it's a lot like the Gleaming the Cube movie, right? Where it's just it's a 90s movie.
Nope.
They just have to jam a bunch of shit into it for the sake of jamming shit in. Rollerblading was huge. The good guys are on rollerblades. The bad guys on a skateboard. Tell me there's not some fucking symbolism there.
I'm with Coleman on this. How cool is it when he skateboards in the nighttime just to sneak up on
and get the one thing.
get the floppy disk.
Get the one floppy disk. Yeah, your floppy disk. Remember the floppy disk? Just handling all that software. So much software.
So
they're the worm is on the floppy disk.
Party kid clothes. They're like at raves. They're rave kids. They just jammed like every 90s thing in they could. And in other reviews, we've talked about the score. I love the score of this movie.
Okay.
I love the soundtrack of this movie. Like,
Kicks
this shit
ass.
was my childhood.
Yeah. The
I'm
music
glad
is the
this
best
is the
part of the
second one
film.
of the night.
And I think the music is probably the only thing that holds up.
The music is great, but I know the movie doesn't hold up whatsoever, but I love it. I just have so much appreciation for it. And then, you know, in rewatching it now, I'm like, okay, how could you visually represent hacking? Because what real hacking is, like, have you ever coded?
Right.
If they just showed someone typing code speak into a computer for an hour and a half, like, you couldn't do that. So they had to make some crazy visual representation of what hacking was to make it cool, man.
They figured out that in this movie that you can't.
No, you can't. It's not cool. It's lots of Red Bull in the middle of the night and just boring for average human beings because damn.
There's one thing that this movie is not, and this movie is not boring, Johnny.
The act of hacking is boring. The act of hacking,
not.
if you're just an average schmuck like me, the act of hacking is like,
Right, yeah. Yeah, for all the flaws, this movie is never boring. There's always something to laugh at.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, okay, so if we are framing this as a comedy, Okay, yeah,
Ugh.
it's fine.
Something. One of my favorite scenes in this is at the very beginning after we establish, or we're doing the courtroom scene, and you get your Felicity Huffman cameo. She's the prosecutor, and then the movie's trying to get you to laugh at it, like shifts through the entire Dade family, and then it's like, oh, there's an empty seat. Oh no, it pans down to a kid. That's not the funny part. Like, fuck you, Ian Softly, the director of this film. The funny thing is the judge says you are not allowed to touch a touch-tone phone until you're 18.
So I was thinking about this. So he did that. He crashed like the stock market in 1988 by hacking, by creating a virus. Could you do that in 1988?
If you're zero cool.
No, you couldn't. How?
Like, I know that this became a thing in 95, which is why they made it a movie, but could you do that shit in 88?
I can't say definitively, and I'm still confident in saying in 1988, no, because your average schmool at home didn't. You mean to tell me he was like bleeping and blooping through the touch tone phone to hack Wall Street?
Well, yeah, because the Phantom Freak, he was getting his one phone call, and then he hacked the dial tone.
Fact check. That there is 1995, of course, and yeah, it's just like, and it wasn't even something tricky. He did the whole like he hit the receiver 5 times. And, operator, no, that's not a hacker move. Sorry.
Everything is hacking. Hack the planet, Johnny.
Hack the planet.
Hack the planet.
Hack the planet. Hack the planet.
Oh man! All right. Yep. Actors. Let's talk about the characters, because that's what this is like, the Arkham Insane Asylum of bad people. We have the Phantom Freak. We have Zero Cool, who later goes by Crash Override.
The best, die like the rest.
Acid Burn, Lord Nikon. I mean, these are just the coolest names ever, because these are the coolest folks ever. Lord Nikon, even, he lives in this like dilapidated like parking lot that has like all these like hacker terms on his door spray painted, so if you were confused like who would live there, like, and then when you go in it's like a normal place. So you had this like weird hacker TV network by these two like flamboyant
Razor and Blade,
bro.
Yeah. This like how? Oh my god, how much
serial killer, but spelled with a C, because he kills a bowl of cereal.
How much?
Because he's Fruit Loops, man. Not because he kills a bowl of cereal. Because he's nuts. God.
Yes, quoting Corinthians amidst all the code.
It's so hard to keep track of any scene that's going on, because besides Angelina Jolie, every single actor is chewing the scenery in different directions. So you never know who to focus on or what the fuck's going on, because everyone is just speaking to the back of the room, trying to have their moment in this fucking shit show, but no other does it the best. The best character in this entire film is the Plague.
The little boat flipped over. Loser. We are samurai, the keyboard cowboys.
You talking to me? Are you nuts? Come at me!
Fucking Fisher Stevens deserves every single award for being able to say the garbage he was saying and keeping a straight face. Because Lorraine Bracco's doing like an early Donald Trump during this like impression, and I'm like, it's like, you better not blow the Plague.
Oh, I like that the whole time they're doing all this to get $25 million, and they're like major execs for an oil company.
Yeah.
You need $25 million.
Hey, 25 million in 95 is easily 52 million by today's standards.
And their plan is just to capsize boats, because if you mess with a boat's computer, it tips over.
Yeah. Well, you
Science.
create an ecological disaster.
Each
Oh my
boat
God.
would have to have a $25 million apparatus hooked up to a computer that would tip it. What? How would that? What? How does that even work? How does a boat
Because
just
science,
tip
John.
over?
Because
it's-
science.
Listen, you know
Just
what?
don't understand how
It's
science
like
works.
it's like the time travel
Man.
in Austin Powers. Don't overthink it. Just go with it.
Because the
Everyone's
naked
on
man
roller-
virus says so.
Everyone's on rollerblades. It's all cool.
And skateboards.
It's fine. No, one skateboard, singular, just the one,
Yes.
and it
The
was
bad guy.
mediocre at best. Okay.
Rollerblades are the future, Johnny.
Different.
Hack the planet!
No, beyond Felicity Huffman, there were a lot of really great, not a lot, but a few great cameos in here. You got Penn Jillette as like the board operator.
Right.
Love that. Mark Anthony as one of the FBI agents was freaking phenomenal.
That still
Oh,
looks
God,
exactly
that's
the
him?
same age. He is a fucking William Dafoe. He's the
Yeah.
Mexican William Dafoe. He doesn't
And
age.
like, which half of Penn and Teller showed up at the switchboard at the
Penn Jillette, the bigger one.
The one that talks.
one
Yeah.
that talks? That guy.
Yeah.
Penn. Is it
He was
Penn?
the board. He was the board operator at the refinery, whatever.
He was there to just ask Fisher Stevens questions. That was his entire role.
Yeah.
Oh, they're getting into the thing now. What do we do, boss? Well, I'll tell you what
Yep.
they'll do. Come and fuck with me. Ah!
Come at me!
But I
Come
love-
at me! I'm like,
I loved Mark Anthony walking through her like house party,
Look like a total perv.
trying to
totally
look
undercover.
cool, but looking conspicuous as hell.
Yeah. The one guy
Uh,
that probably can dance on set is just like, yeah.
Yeah. The scene where him and the other FBI agent are spying on the guys, and the guy just has a full-size Nikon camera that he's like taking
shoulder.
pictures over his shoulder.
Dude, you got a tail. Ugh, I left the thing in the place where I stashed that stuff. Like
The one time.
the one time.
Did Nikon cameras fund like 75% of this film because you had a character named after it? You had-
No. It's a 50-50 between Nikon and Coca-Cola.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thanks for clearing that up.
Because there's a lot of Coke all over.
There's probably a lot of coke not on camera
Yes.
fueling the actors getting through
I
this
mean,
movie.
how are you going to get through this? Seriously, in 95, Midtown Manhattan, how on earth are you getting through this movie?
They're like, have you ever
That's
seen
right.
Scarface? We have that room.
Coked
Yeah.
out of your mind.
Johnny Lee Miller's accent was just fabulous.
Oof. Is that how Americans talk, Mr. Scottish man? I don't know.
It is.
Oh, cool.
That's how I
Slightly
talk
then.
all the time.
It was weird because I just see him as Sick Boy because of Train Spotting, and to hear him try to attempt a horrible
Oh my
American
God.
accent was really disappointing.
Now I'm enjoying this movie because now I have a point to like be like, really? Train Spotting?
Yeah.
There was a person that was in a good movie. Oh yeah.
Oh my god, I thought he was a throwaway. All right, sweet.
And this was one of Angelina Jolie's first roles. I mean,
Yeah.
and to be fair, I think just as far as like acting goes, like she probably was trying the most to do like a regular like human being performance. Everyone else was just like, I'm the Phantom Freak, and then she was just like, you know, kind of normal, like a normal person in this. So I'm not the biggest Angelina Jolie fan, but she probably put in the best performance as far as this movie went. I mean, she just literally had to act against Johnny Lee Miller, like sexually creeping on her the entire time.
I would say all of the other hackers put on amazing performances.
That's fair. It's
with how ridiculous they all had to be in their characters.
Yeah.
You know, just like Fisher Stevens, like, yes, he had to say ridiculous shit.
We are
And
the
play it
Cowboys.
safe, but like Matthew
How much-
Lillard and
Yeah.
the Phantom Freak, like, come on.
Fisher Stevens must have had do the most coke to get through that.
Yeah. Well, Lillard was being Lillard. Like, that's Lillard, right?
True.
Which is good. Like, and I think he was just rightfully cast because he was just
Oh,
doing
yeah.
his thing. But Fisher Stevens, man, because I think at this point, He like people still thought he was an Indian man because he was in all the like the Short Circuit movies. He was like the Johnny Five is alive guy, and so when I saw him,
Well,
in this, I
the
was
cat
like,
is dragged in a sack
wait,
for
no,
4
wait,
eyes.
what?
And it's
I'm like, are
you look dreadful.
Oh no!
Girlie, come quick, girlie, danger! Come on.
They brown faced his ass, and then they
Oh,
let
yeah.
him be his normal self in this movie. Johnny's mind is just fucked right now.
No. I gotta know. Like Short Circuit. Like
yeah.
Oh my God. That was one of my faves. That was.
Fisher Stevens
Where?
is an American. It's mind blowing.
Matthew Lillard only had a few credits to his name pre-Hackers, and I would say this was his jump off was in Hackers.
I would say Scream
I'm sorry,
a year after this.
Now my mind's blown.
Right.
I'm like, well, Fisher Stevens Short Circuit. I'm like, oh my God.
Okay, his jump off for me. Okay.
Okay.
Hackers was a giant movie in my mind. Way better than Scream.
Oh my God.
Okay, I will give Coleman that, and I haven't even seen Scream.
Oh
there
my
you go.
God. Both of those statements hurt my balls. I have to give this filmmaker credit for taking a shot, having such like he was like they went all in on this, and they're just like, we think, because 95, 94, they probably made this in like late 93, 94. You're just coming out of the 80s, so the 80s, like it was the dawn of technology, and it was just like let's all Tron and all that stuff. It's just like, okay, we think that this is what's gonna happen, and no other filmmaker just fucking shot their shot as hard as this filmmaker did, and was so wrong about everything that came afterwards. But you gotta commend someone with that conviction, being like, this is the thing, this is the shit, this is going to be the next thing going forward. And hey, totally wrong, but good on you for
you know what, in his defense, in 1995, who knew?
Oh yeah,
who knew?
Yep.
He was a frontier
Hackers.
Yeah, he was basically, he had nothing to go on. He was this pioneer trying to represent something that visually is probably one of the most boring things to do.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if you go to Mission Impossible, you'll find representations of hacking that make sense. But even then, it's just like, I'm sitting in a fire truck typing away.
But the whole movie isn't about that.
Right.
So it's a very small piece that's like, oh, here's some guy hacking, and that's the boring part before, Tom Cruise drops from the ceiling and shit.
Right.
Here in the world of 1995 Manhattan techno scene, we're trying to show you what's going on in the hacker's head.
Yeah, it's why I compared this to Gleaming the Cube, because it's like that movie, they had to build a movie around skateboarding. In this one, they had to build a movie around hacking, and so with no real understanding of exactly what hacking was, but I'm sure it just became, they read some stories, and there was a new threat in the world, and let's build a movie around this. And so they just jammed every 90s stereotype into that movie. Yeah. Like, let's get all the rollerblades and skateboards and the crazy clothes and the parties and, make them the cool kids and everything else.
Just so everyone's aware, and then we got, this is for our younger viewers, the half dozen of you that we have. Fifth Element did it better as far as 90s style.
Yeah,
I disagree.
But again, I want to give all the credit to like someone shooting their shot with, like Coleman said, with very little to go on. Like, it's like trying to navigate being lost in the woods with like your cell phone light, and that's it. It's just like, they didn't know what the fuck was gonna happen, but you know what? We're gonna go all in, and it's gonna be a feast or famine. We're either gonna get this shit right and be like, oh, we're the greatest movie ever, or we're gonna be hackers. And hey, they were hackers, and someone had to be. And I'm glad that they were. I mean, some people recovered from this. Like Johnny Lee Miller, like I said, went on to do good movies like Trainspotting and stuff. And then like Angelina Jolie had a meteoric rise from there. This, Matthew Lillard to varying degrees of success. His best years were ahead of Hackers, though. People like The Phantom Freak and Lord Nikon, not so much. But you know what? Not everyone's going to make it out alive.
No, but I don't think this was. I have a feeling this movie didn't tank careers. Like if we were talking about, I'm going to lean on this crutch for as long as I'm on this show. If we're going to talk about movies,
Johnny Fisher,
we're going to talk about movies that tank careers. We can always fall back on Cabin Boy, and that was an unfortunate situation for Chris Elliott. Shame on
floor.
them.
That is the floor. Fisher Stevens went on to do Super Mario Brothers after this. That's
yeah. And you look at this, you look at the cast, it's like, I know this one, I know this one, and this one, because you've seen them in other things. Like for me, there's Shaggy, and it was like, I'll always know him as Shaggy. But a lot of these actors went on to do bigger. Actors in this movie flourished in spite of it. That's my take. Like, this movie could have tanked careers because it was so corny. But they didn't, because it didn't get enough views.
Well, they were also really young, and this was like an early role for all these people. Like this was if not the first, like one of the first roles for almost all of these actors.
Sure.
So it's not something where it's like they were already known and popular, and then they did something shitty and it tanked them. It's something that, you go, well, now I have a film credit to my name, so I can move up from here.
I get that. It's hard to crash when you're already on the floor.
It's hard to crash and burn. Oh, God. Just lay them up. I'll dunk them in.
Yeah.
Even Ian Softly, the filmmaker, went on to make more films after this. Like, who gave him the keys again? But people did. And, I mean, good on it. I don't want to see anyone not work. But, yes, I agree with Coleman, whereas this was a good platform because it was cashing in on something that was kind of maybe could be popular, but everyone saw this film back in 1995. Whether you were a hacker or not, it was like Pogs, right? It's just like everyone knew what a Pog was, everyone did it, but everyone stopped doing it the next day after you bought your Slammer.
You shut up. How dare you?
Hey, man.
I told you. I'm going to be a professional Pog player someday.
Sorry, we moved on to other cardboard rectangles.
That's it.
You guys keep your magic.
That's right. It was, yeah. So it was a nice demo reel for what some of these people could do, and I'm glad. I wouldn't say that Hackers has a cult following, but it has a very interesting thing about it where everyone did see it, and loved it, but then don't ever watch it again. Now. I wouldn't recommend, if anyone hasn't seen Hackers, I couldn't be like, go watch Hackers, because it's just, you're not going to enjoy it. We only enjoy it because we had that, nostalgia for it, and be like, oh man, we loved that fucking film back in the day because it was our jam, and, we all thought this and this and this, and it was so cool. And then watching it now, I'm just like, oh God, it's like seeing an old picture of yourself. It's just bad news, but
I wish you hadn't taken it.
So if you've seen Hackers, I would say my recommendation would be not to watch it again. If you haven't seen Hackers, don't watch it. But if you did see it in 95, you're part of a club, and it's cool to be in that club.
Remember
Guys?
As it was, not as it is.
Right.
My recommendation, I would say, whether you've seen it or not, if you're from the era, if you were born in the 80s, maybe early 90s, late 70s especially, you'll just have an appreciation for the culture. So go watch it, because it's hilarious. No, it doesn't hold up to modern standards, but I do go back and watch this movie every 2 to 3 years. Because I just, the entertainment value So I would, and I would say, if you're from those eras and you have kids, show it to your kids just to see how they respond.
Totally.
I'm going to show this to
that.
my daughter just because I want to know how she reacts to this movie. She's going to be like, what the hell is going on?
This
Yeah,
is
totally.
John's face. What the hell is going on?
This is the funniest form of self-loathing I have ever seen.
I still absolutely love this movie. I love it.
Oh my god.
Sometimes you just have to agree with your friends.
Fine. Coleman.
Boy.
Fine.
Oi, oi, oi. Johnny, would you recommend Hackers?
If you are a vintage screensaver junkie, then you watch this movie. Otherwise, just go spend the rental money on like whiskey. It's something worth it.
I'd rather burn my eyes with acid. That is our review of 1995's Hackers, directed by Ian Softly. I want to thank Coleman Yeti, who's never picking a movie again, and Johnny Mulligans for joining me tonight. Follow us on all the social medias, like Twitter. We're at The Cult of Films. Coleman, where can everyone find you?
Well, my name is Charlie Ranchero.
That's true. I'll drink.
And you can find me at Coleman Yeti on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me right here on The Cult of Films. And you can find me occasionally over on YouTube on Cascade Backcountry.
Mr. Spunky Contour.
Just Google Spunky Contour. I'm sure you'll find me. It's fine.
Yeah.
Put on incognito search first.
Right. Google Spunky Contour, please. Let us know what you find in the comments below.
God. Now, in Trainwreck Theory, this one was definitely fast-moving and complete disaster. What am I doing here?
You still can't get over that. That was Fisher Stevens in Short Circuit.
Can't believe it. I'm like it's,
He's like
it's
a chameleon.
Now I'm seeing all the equations in E equals mc squared and having my little hangover moment at the blackjack table kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm blown away. But that was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can find me here, hanging out, lurking, sculpting, and you can find me on the Twitters. Let me go look at my new handle. It's at Commander Hamilton. That's CMDR_Hamilton on the Twitters. But it's not worth it. It's fine.
That's where you can find Johnny, but totally don't go check him out.
Yeah, do not. It's even worse than like Googling Spunky Contour. I'm Hans Cutlass. You can find me at John the Host on the Bird website. You can also follow this, like I said before, at the Cult of Films. Please thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, do all the things on social media, tell everyone that we exist, and we're talking about Hackers, however embarrassing that is. Tell people about it because we do this for you. And then also check this out in podcast form whenever I decide to upload this to podcast form on all your Stitchers and Spreakers and all those good things. Until next time, hack the planet!
Hack the planet!
Hack the planet! Come on, Johnny.
Just stop.